All right, so this is the how to build a six-figure business in 6 months or less. Funny enough, it's actually 6 phases or 6 steps, which is convenient. I just didn't want to put three sixes in the title of the webinar. So it's convenient, easy to wrap your head around, but yeah, how to build six-figure business in 6 months or less. So by the end of this webinar, you will have a plan for building your own six-figure business in 6 months. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, and I'm actually going to work to the end of the plan backwards. So you're going to see what you have to do at the very end and work all the way back to the beginning. And you're going to know what you need to do and how fast you need to do it. And you'll know the #1 business model for achieving this result. Now, obviously, we're going to be talking a lot about selling on Amazon. And like I said, this is great. If you've gotten up selling on Amazon, you can use this because maybe you haven't hit that six-figure mark yet. And when I say six figures, and I'll talk about this in a second, I mean 6 figures per month. Not total, 6 figures per month, over $100,000 a month. So if you haven't hit that level in your Amazon business yet, this will help you get there. Or maybe you're already cranking along doing more than that, but you want to learn how to take a new product to that level as quickly as possible. This can help you get some clarification there. And then the other group of people, about 30–40% of the people here, you don't sell on Amazon, you're in a great spot. You're going to learn exactly what you need to know to get up and running and go from 0 to 6 figures a month in 6 months or less. So, and you'll know how to get started today. This isn't something you have to wait on. You're actually in kind of a good time period right now, to be honest. I mean, we're sitting here in July, so we're about halfway through the year, and everyone knows who sells on Amazon, things get crazy on Amazon towards the end of the year with all the holidays and Christmas and stuff after Christmas. Sales just skyrocket. So if you move quickly now, your 6-month mark is going to be at an amazing time. Because your sales are just going to skyrocket just because you're doing this at a good time and you're sort of just lucky, I guess. But obviously there's sales that happen all year round on Amazon. People buy stuff all the time. I buy stuff all the time. I'm sure you do as well. And so just kind of lucky here being 6 months halfway through the year. So first thing I want to cover before we get too far into this is what does 6 figures really mean? So I'm going to show you a little math behind what 6 figures actually means. So 6 figures, also known as $100,000 plus per month, could be multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, but this webinar is going to be tailored to that first $100,000. So let's give you an example real quick. Let's say exactly $100,000 a month in sales. So the product selling price, just kind of making this up, but it is kind of within the range that we look at. So product selling price is $40. So each product you sell produces $40 in revenue. The number of units you need to sell to reach $100,000 a month at $40 each is 2,500 units in a single month. So you sell 2,500 units in a single month at $40 each, that gets you 100 grand. And so the profit margin, we used to tell a lot of people, 40%, 50%, 30%, and all that is very, very realistic, but a lot of that comes whenever you've been up and selling for a little bit. When you first start selling, you're going to have to do more product promotions, you're likely going to be advertising is going to eating up more of your costs because you're going to be getting less organic sales because it's a new product. People don't know that it exists. We can teach you how to get up and get organic rankings, but a lot of times at first, that's not the biggest source of your sales. So we're going to be very conservative here. We're going to say the profit margin is 20%. What you see on the right of the screen is an actual product from a new brand that I launched earlier this year. So this is an actual product. As you can see, for this time period we looked at, I just randomly kind of pulled something. The product produced about $8,500 in sales. And I'm not going to run too much through all this stuff. You don't really need to know what a lot of this is if you don't know what it is. But there's FBA fees, meaning kind of shipping stuff, referral fees. This is Amazon's chunk, what it gets paid. Promo value, ran a few coupons here and there, had a few product refunds for whatever reason. And because there were some refunds, Amazon gave me the fee that they charged back, which is why I get $27 back. Estimated payout from Amazon, about $4,800. And this tool I was using allows you to put in the product costs. And so the product cost is $2,400. That includes shipping. That includes everything. Amazon sponsored ads, which is an advertising tool I use inside of Amazon, spent about $465. So the profit on $8,500 in sales was about $2,000, $1,900. And so this real margin on a real product, real example, was about 23%. So for the sake of this webinar, we're just going to say 20%, being pretty conservative. But what happens is later on, your margins start increasing because you get more organic sales. Advertising and stuff is not as big of a factor. You probably get a lower product cost because you're ordering a bigger quantity. Now, this product only ordered about 500 units, and so whenever you get cranking and start ordering 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 units at a time because your business is growing, your product cost also gets lower, and your shipping gets lower per unit and all that good stuff. So, but let's just say 20% just to be safe. So your profit at the end of all this, the $100,000 is $20,000 per month. Not a bad deal, making $20,000 a month. So just to make it very easy to see, I just created a little visual diagram here. You can see that out of the total $100,000, 80% is costs, 80% of the revenue, 20% is the profit, what you take home at the end of the day, being conservative and being at the early stages of this business. So we have people doing this all the time. As you can see here, I just took this from our system. This is top badges last 30 days. Literally just took this a couple hours ago. You can see Brad Johnson, Ryan, Regis, $100,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $250,000 a month. So yes, you can absolutely do this. So how to get to $100,000 in 6 months or less? Here's where we start getting the meat of how to actually do this. So I created this fancy little timeline you can see here. So 6 months, by the way, just do a little calculation. I just did 30 days, 31 days, 30 days, 31 days. You add all that up, 6 months, about 183 days, and that equals about 26 weeks. So I created a timeline here, which you can see at the top, the weeks, from 1 to 26. Week 1 to week 26, and that's our 6 months. So I'm going to start from the end. So look on your screen on the right side in the green section. That's where we're going to start, because we want to kind of back out. If my goal is to do $100,000 in a month, what do I have to do to get there? So I'm starting at the right. So I actually took 3 weeks rather than 4 weeks. So 3 weeks to produce the $100,000. So in those final 3 weeks, the goal would be to produce $100,000 in those 3 weeks of sales. So sell $100,000 worth of products. So if I know starting at the beginning of that third to last week that I want to sell $100,000 in those next 3 weeks, what do I need to do before then to start getting there? So when you look in the next section, the sort of beige section also on the right, basically waiting for inventory to arrive, because that's going to take, I think I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I put about 8 weeks for the inventory. So it's maybe 3 weeks to sort of get the 3 or 4 weeks to get the supplier to prep it, maybe 4 or 5 weeks to get them to ship it. Assuming it's being shipped by sea. If it's being shipped by air because it's a lighter and smaller product, then it's going to be even faster. So this could be conservative in that respect. But we just did it like you're having to ship the stuff by sea. So those about 8 weeks there, weeks 16 to 23, you're kind of waiting on inventory. And then if you look in the red section, weeks 11 through 15, you're going to market and sell your first batch of inventory and build lots of reviews. So you sort of market and sell this big batch of inventory. The inventory runs out. You got to reorder inventory, and you're reordering enough so that you can produce $100,000 in those last 3 weeks. And don't worry, I'm going through this kind of quick, but I'm going to go through each one of these phases. These are 6 different phases of this. So just kind of giving you a high-level overview right now. So weeks 3 through 10, you place your first inventory order, wait for products to arrive, set up all marketing assets, plan your product launch, and build a list. So basically, first couple of weeks you're getting ready. Weeks 3 through 10, you're placing your first inventory order, but you're not just sort of sitting back doing nothing. You're sort of getting ready. You're building your Facebook page, possibly putting up a website, maybe even building a little bit of list. So the goal is that whenever your products get live, you're not sitting there like, okay, now what do I do? You're getting all that stuff ready, so as soon as your products get live, you can launch them to the top of Amazon, produce sales as quickly as possible, because your goal essentially is in those 5 weeks, week 11, 12, 13, or 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, your goal is to sell enough to pretty much run out of inventory. Now, maybe it's nice if you don't completely run out, but it's fine if you run out of inventory, then you reorder your big batch and you hit the ground running again in week 24. So weeks 3 through 10, you're placing your first inventory order and waiting for products to arrive and doing lots of stuff to get ready. So week 2, receive and evaluate samples. This should be relatively quick. Sometimes people take a long time to do this, but it should be relatively quick because samples, because they're small, are always going to be shipped by air. So you should be able to get those within a matter of days. Within a few days to a week, you should be able to receive whatever samples you order. And so week number 1, starting at the very beginning, you're doing product and supplier research and you're ordering your samples. You want to do that as quickly as possible. I've done it in as little as 1 day or at most 2 days because a lot of times the reason there would be the delay, I did all the product research, did all the supplier research on day 1, then contacted a bunch of suppliers because they're all in China. The time zone really messes things up, and so I had to wait till the next day to hear back from them, ask them a few more questions, and then eventually got the things ordered. But it didn't take more than a few days to get all that going. So I find it to be realistic. I've obviously done this a few times, so I assume it takes a little longer. But basically giving you a whole week, whole 7 days to do some back and forth with the supplier and the suppliers, and after you find your products and get those ordered. So that is a high-level overview of what this looks like. So feel free to take a screenshot of this real quick. I'll give you a few minutes to do this, or not a few minutes, a few seconds to do this. So 6 months to $100,000 a month. Like I said, it's about 183 days or 26 weeks. Starting at the end, your goal is to produce $100,000 in as little as 3 weeks. And some of this, may change a little bit depending on your business, but this is possible. I'll tell you that much. But it doesn't mean it's, completely easy either. But it is very much possible. We've had people do it even faster, depending on where the products come from. For example, a lot of what we recommend selling now is going to come from China, and it's going to be actually a little bigger and a little heavier, which means that you're going to have to get it shipped by sea, which can take a little while. It can take 45 weeks. But if you find a product that either can be sourced from the U.S. or can be shipped by air, those two big chunks, weeks 3 through 10 and weeks 16 through 23, those can be condensed into a week or two. So maybe it takes them, a week to prep the product and another week to ship it. So let's say 2 weeks. Each one of those gets cut into 2 weeks. So that means you're saving about 12 weeks on this, which is how we've had some people who have literally in a matter of 3 months gotten to, $100,000 a month. A little bit of an extreme case, but it is possible. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to keep going. So now I'm going to go through each one of these phases. Remember, there are 6 phases. So phase 1, which is also week 1. So just to give you a quick overview, this is a part why I asked if you've sold on Amazon before, because some people already do. So if you already do, this slide is not going to do you a whole lot of good. But for everyone who doesn't sell on Amazon, I'm going to go through this relatively quick just so you're kind of caught up. So the business model is essentially you are going over to Amazon, obviously does $100 billion a year in revenue and is growing like crazy still, as big as it is, but it still has a lot of room for growth. So you go to Amazon, you find some product opportunities, some stuff that's selling well. You're kind of using it as your source of research to find products that are selling well. So you go find some products that are selling well on Amazon. You go contact a supplier and basically create your own brand of one of those products. So you find a generic product, could be any sort of really anything you have around your house, anything from cell phone accessories to kitchen stuff to sports stuff. There's a lot of products you can do this with. There's millions actually. So you go find the opportunity on Amazon. You find something selling well. You go contact and research suppliers. You have them put your own brand on it. You're not going out there and selling somebody else's products like iPhones or something like that. You're actually creating your own brand. When you get that sort of done, then you're having the supplier ship the inventory to Amazon's Fulfillment by Amazon warehouses, or FBA. So Amazon stores all the inventory, they process all the shipments, all that good stuff. And then that's obviously part of Amazon. And then whenever your products sell on Amazon, somebody orders from Amazon, you're never really having to touch the inventory except for your samples and whatnot. But after that, you don't really have to touch or deal with any of that stuff. So all the stuff happens on Amazon. Your customers buy on there, they pay on there, they receive products on there, and then Amazon just pays you money. So this is kind of a simplified version, but this is in a nutshell how it works. You're finding products to sell on Amazon, you're getting your own brand created, you're having them shipped to Amazon, so Amazon stores all the inventory, processes all the orders, processes payments, processes refunds, processes everything, and they basically just send you money. Obviously there's a lot of marketing stuff you have to do here, but this is in a nutshell how this works. So first thing you do, just to run through this pretty quickly, is what your goal is to go and rank for certain keywords. So for example, I just typed CrossFit. You could be any one of these products here. So say for example, the second one is a jump rope. You could go out there and see, like, okay, I see jump rope selling extremely well. Maybe I'm into CrossFit. I like this kind of thing. So I'm going to go find some suppliers who sell some really good speed jump ropes, and I'm going to have them put my brand on there. It's Matt's Elite Fitness, whatever. Just made it up. Matt's Elite Fitness. That's going to be my brand of jump ropes, and then I'm going to go start selling that on Amazon. So then you have your own brand. You're selling on Amazon. That's what you're trying to do here. So then in week 1, one of your first things to do is product research. You have to find a product that you want to sell. So easiest way to do this is just go to Google, search Amazon bestsellers, click on the first link you see there. Once you do that, you'll see a whole list of categories on that left-hand side. These are all the categories, and whenever you click on one, you'll see them sorted by bestsellers rank, which means how well they're selling on Amazon, essentially. What you want to do is start digging through those categories and finding different product opportunities that make sense. This may take 30 minutes to an hour. Some people make it take a lot longer. I don't think it should take more than an hour to find a product. But because basically there's tools out there you can use to do this, but just digging through manually also works. So you click on a category, you click on a subcategory, maybe another subcategory, and you just start essentially making a list of products. And so the product criteria you want to look for is, first off, the selling price, $20 to $100. This is, it varies. We keep kind of changing our mind on this, honestly, and kind of widening the range. But $20 to $100. So you don't want to go out there and sell a refrigerator that costs $1,000. That's a little too expensive, because if you want to buy 1 unit of inventory, you're already out $1,000. So look for a product that's selling for $20 to $100. Then look for a product that has reviews of less than 1,000. Because if a product has 10,000 reviews, it's going to be hard for you with your little product that you just launched to compete with them with 1 review from your mom. It's going to be hard for you to go out there and seem credible versus a product that has 10,000 reviews. So selling price $20 to $100, number of reviews less than 1,000, bestsellers rank less than 5,000. So number 1 is the best-selling product. Number 5,000 would be the number 5,000th best-selling product. And it's basically just a gauge of how well the product is selling. For any given category, the number 1 could be selling 5,000 units a day. The number 5,000 could be selling 10 a day. It's hard to really tell. Amazon doesn't reveal that data. There's a few ways you can kind of find out. There's a few tools out there also. But just as a general gauge, less than 5,000. And then the goal is to find 10 to 20 possible opportunities. So create a little spreadsheet that has a link to the product, maybe the product name, the selling price, the number of reviews, and the best sellers rank. And so find 10 to 20 of these possible opportunities. So you have a good solid list of potential products you can sell. And then the next step is, once you have your list of product opportunities, is to do some supplier research. So easiest way, just go to Alibaba.com and type in whatever product it is. For example, you could type in speed jump rope, and it would pull up thousands of different options. Narrow your product choices down to 5 or 6. So based off of what you're finding from supplier research, maybe you're finding that some products you just can't find any suppliers for. Scratch those off the list. You've got 10 to 20. You only need to get down to 5 or 6 different product opportunities. So if you're not finding the suppliers you're looking for, then don't worry about it. And then once you have this list of 5 to 6 product opportunities, then contact a minimum of 3 suppliers per product. So if you have 5 product opportunities, that means you're contacting at least 15 suppliers. Basically, you just start firing them off messages on Alibaba.com. It's free to use. You can sign up for an account, and you can start messaging with suppliers. And just ask them basically, what's your pricing if I order? You can kind of make something up. Tell them you want to order 500 units. That's a good idea for getting pricing, even though you may end up only ordering 1 or 200. But ask them for 500 units. Say, what's the pricing per unit if I order 500 units? And also, if you want to ask them any other questions about colors, or what other options they have, or if you're looking at 2 different versions, like what's the difference, you can ask them any of that kind of stuff. Just realize that it's going to take a full day, likely, unless you just happen to be over in a time zone that's similar to China. It'll likely take you a full day to get a response. So be as clear and as thorough in your emails as possible, so there's not a whole lot of back and forth. So contact all these suppliers, and the goal is to get pricing and minimum order quantity. So you've got at least 5 or 6 product opportunities, and you've got pricing and minimum order quantity for each one. Then the next step, because you don't want to sit out there and try to launch 5 products at once if it's your first time. That's just crazy. Even if it's not your first time, it's still not really a good idea. So the next thing you want to do is figure out how much profit you can make with this thing. So just look at Amazon FBA calculator. If you just search in Google for that, that's the easiest way to do it. You can see the FBA revenue calculator. You can use that one. That's good. So just search for Amazon FBA calculator. And what this does is it allows you to plug in a similar product. For example, I actually did plug in, I think, that jump rope or some other jump rope. So I plugged in that jump rope. You just plug that in there, and then you put some other information like what price you're selling it for and that kind of thing, and it'll tell you a rough guide of what it's going to cost and how much you're going to get paid per sale. And so you can use that to figure out the profitability of each product. If Amazon says that you're going to end up at the end of the day after you sell a unit with $10 and the product costs $12 to source, that's no good. You're not going to go with that. And on the other hand, if you find out that at the end of the day you're going to get paid $20 and you can get the product for $5, that may be pretty good, versus another product that may cost $10. So now you're looking at 2 different opportunities that have 2 different levels of profit. Now, it depends on a lot of factors, like the best sellers rank, the competition level, how much you like a product, how much you like a market. But these are all things to take into consideration when you're deciding what product you actually want to sell. But you definitely want to know the level of profit you're going to make. So once you do this, you're going to calculate the potential profit for each product, and then the goal is, and here's very important, order at least 2 samples for the best product opportunity. Here's where you're actually going to have to give out money, maybe $50 to $100 per sample, but the last thing you want to do is order a batch of inventory and then find out the product is no good. So you want to order at least 2 samples, I recommend, ideally more, but at least 2 samples for the best product opportunity. So you're picking one product opportunity that has good profit, a low level of competition, you like the market, like the brand you could build in there, you like the product ideally, and then pick out 2 suppliers and order 2 samples. And if a supplier will send you more than 1 sample, that's cool too, but definitely order from 2 different suppliers so you can gauge the relative level of quality, because you may find out one is a lot better than the other one. For example, I'll just give you an example of a product that I didn't actually end up selling, but I was looking at a rock climbing bag. And so, I do a decent amount of rock climbing here and there, I guess. And so there's bags that you use to carry the ropes, because the ropes can sometimes weigh quite a bit of money, and you're hiking around and trying to get to the place where you go rock climb. And then so I saw this supplier that sold rock climbing bags. Like, oh, this would be cool. So I told him to kind of max out the different features. I had to pay, I don't remember what it was, about $100 for the sample. I said, I want the best zipper, I want the best quality, I want the best this and that. And they send the bag. And I think the bag is pretty sturdy, but it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Like, nobody's going to want to buy this thing, at least in America anyways. And so this thing was not good at all from that respect. And so that product was kind of dead in the water. I was busy doing other things. I already had other products I was pursuing. So I decided I didn't really need another product. But that was an example that I never would have known had I not ordered the sample. It's just not something that would be appealing to people. So, which is why samples are extremely important. So that wraps up about week 1. So you find some product opportunities, you find some suppliers, you calculate your profit, and you order a couple samples for at least 1 product. So that, I said, can be done in as little as, maybe 2, I don't know, maybe 1 is a little aggressive, but at least 2 or 3 days, that can likely be done. But if it takes a full week, that's okay too. So now we're on to phase number 2, which is also week number 2. So you're going to receive and evaluate samples. And I decided to pull a fancy little screenshot here, or not a screenshot, an actual image of me opening some samples. So this is products that I was evaluating. So this is me at the house. We got a little gym in the house. And so this is me opening some products, some real product samples from China. So this is what you'll be doing essentially at your own house, is you'll be opening some of these products and evaluating the samples. So you're going to try out the product, ideally try to break it. I was trying to pull on these things, yank on these things, and trying to do whatever I could to find out if they were faulty. And so try to break them, make sure they're good and high quality. Maybe even ask other people to try them. If you, if you got a husband or a wife or a kid or anybody else, especially that would be using the product, have them try it out and see if they also get a good experience from it. Check packaging quality is also important. Sometimes they may not send it to you in the finished packaging, but if they do, then definitely check that as well, because it's the full experience of when somebody buys the product. And compare these versus other samples for the same product. You may find that they're exactly the same, which I found before, or there may be a big difference in product quality. So evaluate these samples. And also another thing that we don't stress enough is to pay attention to supplier communication and sample delivery time. Because them getting the product to you the product being okay is one thing, but were they quick? Were they a lot slower than the other supplier? Were they harder to communicate with? Were they more problematic? Were they less flexible? Those kind of things, dealing with just getting a sample, can be a small taste of what you're going to experience dealing with them when you place a bigger order. So things to pay attention to, especially if the products are of equal quality and are of equal price from the suppliers, then make sure you sort of pay attention to which one's faster and better at communicating. So the other thing you want to do is to go ahead and get a logo at this phase. Once you have an idea of what product you're going to end up selling, you can go ahead and get a logo. So a cheap way to do it is go to Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. You can get one for $5 to $20. Funny enough, everything used to be $5, but now they have a way of making everything not $5. So it's either $5 to $20 or so for a logo. Or you can get a little fancier and go to something like 99designs.com, and you can get one there for like $300 to like $1,400. A really top-notch logo for that expensive, $1,400, but you may not want to go that far for your first product. So just getting something up there, $5 to $20, may be your best bet just to get started. So phase 3, weeks 3 through 10. So first thing you're going to do in this third phase is to place your first inventory order. You've received products, you've checked out products, you've contacted suppliers, you've received samples. Now it's time to place your first inventory order. Now, to be honest, where something could get hung up at this phase is if you do all the research, you order samples, and you find out they're all junk. It maybe has like a 10% likelihood of happening. But if that does happen, then you're sort of back at the drawing board. Fortunately, you still have a list of 5 or 6 products and even 10 to 20 backup products that you can pull from. But if that does happen, then you just got to keep moving forward. Keep may order another few samples, pick out a different product opportunity, a different supplier. So that happens. It can happen, but just sort of keep moving forward. But ideally, samples work out well, and you place your first inventory order. So I recommend ordering at least 200 units of inventory, depending on the price of the product, and maybe $1,000 to $3,000. Some people are able to get by with ordering just a few $100s worth of inventory, especially if it's sourced in the U.S. or if it's shipped by air and it's a little cheaper. But a lot of times you may be looking at $1,000 to $3,000 for inventory, which may sound crazy or it may sound like nothing, depending on sort of where you're at financially. But either way, this is inventory you're using to sell, to make money off of. It's not just like money you're burning out the window. It's money you're actually using to invest to produce a profit. So usually pay about 30% deposit up front and then 70% when the products are ready to ship. Should take about 3 or 4 weeks to prepare the product, and then about 3 to 5 weeks to ship by sea. So you pay your 30%, they start preparing the product with your logo and packaging and all that good stuff. They'll say, hey, it's ready to ship. You pay another 70%, and then they ship the product by sea or by air, depending on the product. Total time for this, 6 to 9 weeks to get all this done. So also during this phase, highly recommend setting up your marketing assets. So set up your Facebook page for your brand. That's good to start building engagement and building an audience. Also can set up a website. I do recommend this, but it is optional. You can use something as simple as WordPress. You can use a WordPress website, lots of cool themes if you've never used WordPress. One thing that I would do, honestly, for the brand that I launched earlier this year, if I was to do it again, I would have used something like this, like Squarespace. There's Squarespace and Wix. Squarespace and Wix, they offer some really nice looking website templates. You have to pay, I don't know, I think a pretty inexpensive monthly fee, but they offer some really nice looking websites. I mean, they look better than some of the websites that I've paid a lot of money to have built. So those are definitely good options. Or if you already have a brand, those are good options to look at too. If you just kind of threw up a WordPress website, these can make your website look extremely professional. And you can always, if you want, because maybe there's some plugins you like to use with WordPress or some blog or something you want to do else, you can also just install a WordPress on top of, Wix or Squarespace. But if you want a really nice looking, credible website, one of those, they look very good. And the other thing too is if you want to, it's optional also, but set up a Twitter handle for your brand. It can also be useful for marketing. And another highly recommended thing is you want a way to capture emails. So you can use something like Aweber or MailChimp, or there's one I'm using now that I'm pretty happy with called Klaviyo. It's Klaviyo, Klaviyo, and they actually let you import contacts. You have to have, good deliverability and all that good stuff. But if you have a bunch of contacts somewhere else, they'll let you import them and sort of migrate over there to mail from there. But you can use anything like MailChimp or Aweber. So you want a place to be able to capture emails, because still, as hard as it is to get away from, regardless of how many new fancy social media platforms come out there, email still produces the highest ROI out of anything that I've seen per contact, I guess. So having an email list is still extremely important. So then go ahead in this phase, because you basically have found a product, you've created a logo, you've started building some brand assets like your website and your Facebook page and maybe a Twitter account and all that good stuff. Go ahead and start building a list. Easiest way to do this is to start posting stuff on your Facebook page and sending them over to your Aweber opt-in form. You can just tell them that you're going to be giving out specials and discounts and coupons, and that's usually enough to capture a good chunk of people. So set up an email opt-in form using Aweber or MailChimp. Tell people they're going to get a big discount on the product you're about to release. So you already know what product you're going to release. You can say, and be conservative, don't tell them it's going to be ready next week when it may not be for another month or two. But tell them, soon you're launching it, or be conservative, say 2 or 3 months away. You're going to launch this new cool product. You're super excited about it. Tell them to enter their email, and they're going to be the first to get a big, massive discount on the product. Works extremely well. Just did this myself. So post this on your Facebook page. You can even run some simple and cheap Facebook ads. It doesn't mean you have to go spend thousands of dollars. I'm talking about as little as $25 to $100. Send people over to that opt-in form. And the goal is to capture just 50 to 100 targeted subscribers. It doesn't have to be a lot. The real purpose of this is so you can get reviews when your product goes live, which I'll talk about in a second. But set up your opt-in form, run a few Facebook ads, post on your Facebook page, start building some engagement, and ideally capture 50 to 100 subscribers. So then the next part you want to do, which once again you don't want to, this is where I see a lot of people mess up, is they, sort of do one thing and then they're kind of waiting until they get to the next step before they do anything. This is why it takes them a lot longer than it should to launch a business to be more successful. It's because they're sort of sitting around waiting for stuff to happen. There's a lot you can do. You can be very proactive. So also while you're waiting on inventory, plan your product launch. Start thinking about how you can get 10 to 15 5-star reviews as quickly as possible. Make a list of the different audiences, people that could like your product, friends, family members, and anyone else that you can get a hold of, that you can give one of your products to or give it to them for a big discount and ask them to write a review. And then also start planning your deal. Do you want to give it to them for free? Do you want to have them go buy it on Amazon for $1? There's benefits and downsides to both, but either one can work. All you're trying to do is get some good, honest reviews from people that you know are going to like you and your product. That's really it, and the goal is to get 10 to 15 to start off with. So now you've gone through this whole phase of setting up some of these marketing assets, and now your product is live. So phase 4, weeks 11 through 15. So congratulations, your product is now live, but now what? This is where I see a lot of people get stuck, because funny enough, you think that when you get into this business, we've been teaching people how to do this for 4 years now, I think, but you teach people how, you think you get into this business because people kind of like while you're on this webinar today is how to build a 6-figure business in 6 months. You think, oh man, it's going to be exciting when I get to that $100,000. Like the money's going to be coming in. I don't care about the brand or any of that sort of stuff. I just want the money coming in. But when you get into the nitty-gritty of building this business and you're creating a cool logo and you're contacting suppliers on the other side of the world when you've never done that before, which is a cool experience, you're receiving samples, they send you some products that have your actual logo and brand on there, and then you get this sort of amazing set of inventory ready and it gets shipped to Amazon. Now it's live on Amazon. You can go click on Amazon. You can see your actual listing. And then that's the part where people get very caught up and they forget that that's just a means to an end. It can be very exciting to go source products and create a brand and all that sort of stuff, but a lot of times people, as soon as they get through all that, they just kind of sit back and okay, now why isn't it selling? Or maybe I should go launch another product. That's the best thing to do. Once your product's live, that's just the beginning. Now it's time to make sure it sells. So you have 2 goals. So first, get 10 to 15 5-star reviews as quickly as possible, and second, start producing sales, meaning sell all your inventory if possible. Get 10 to 15 5-star reviews. That's your #1 goal as soon as a product gets live. Get those reviews. Second, start producing sales. So how to get 10 to 15 5-star reviews as quickly as possible. Friends and family. It could be customer follow-up. If you start getting some sales, maybe you start getting a handful of sales and you're at 5 or 6 reviews, then start following up with those people that are naturally buying from you or people that you give products to and make sure they leave you reviews. Be persistent. Use that email list you've been building. So send them an email, say, hey, I got this big discount on this product I just launched. I'm super excited about it. Here's the coupon. Go buy the product. And by the way, I run a small business and I'm trying to build a brand. Please leave a review after you buy this thing. It's really going to help me out. And so you're kind of pulling at their heartstrings a little bit. After they buy the product, maybe they don't leave a review immediately. Give them a few days to receive the product, use the product, then start following up with them. Like, hey, I just want to see if you have any questions about the product. Do you have any issues? Is there anything I can help with? By the way, run a small business. I'm trying to get some reviews on this product because it really helps me out. So go through that whole process with everyone who buys from you. Especially if they're friends or family, hound the crap out of those people and make sure they leave you a review. A lot of people are not as aggressive as they should be about that. Obviously, be persistent, but be respectful. Last thing, you can also use your Facebook and Twitter account. So you can also run that same coupon or special on there. Tell them once again, here's the big coupon, here's the cool product, please leave a review after. Same process there. So this is usually enough to get your first 10 to 15 reviews. You can do this from anywhere in the world too. Maybe you're from the other side of the world and you're selling products in the US. Maybe you don't have access to friends and family locally who can buy this product. You can use these other sources. This is all I did to start off with. I didn't get any friends or family to buy the product that I launched first for this new brand. I just used a little email list that I built, the Facebook and Twitter, and some customer follow-up. So next is to start producing sales. So try to get the 10 to 15 reviews as quickly as possible. Then you want a burst of traffic in a short period of time. Amazon, we've been trying different marketing strategies on Amazon for the past 4 years. There's been a lot of different cycles, stuff that works extremely well, stuff that stops working, stuff that keeps working, stuff that never works anymore that'll get you in trouble. We've seen it all, and we've done it all, and we've tried it all, and we've sort of been there and done that. Right now, the good thing is that the promotional stuff that works more and more and keeps your account in good standing is the more and more legitimate stuff. But there's still some, kind of things you can pull on that are completely within Amazon's rules, but, just just kind of weird stuff that's not exactly natural, but it still works extremely well. So you want a big burst of traffic in a short period of time, ideally from as many different sources as possible. And also don't be afraid to offer big discounts for a limited number of people. That product I showed you with the $2,000 in profit over that time period, that one had run a bunch of coupons and discounts at first, and that thing that I was showing you, that was kind of after some of that, and as you can see, it was producing good profit after that. So maybe at first, you have to give a few products away here and there, but after that, then that's when the real profit starts coming in. So here we go. So first thing you're going to do is set up a coupon or multiple coupons for your product. Maybe you have an exclusive one for your email list, for your kind of VIP list. Maybe you have an exclusive one for Facebook, for Twitter, maybe one for friends and family. So set all that stuff up. Then one thing you want to do, which is kind of outside the scope of this webinar, is start running some Amazon Seller Central ads. Make sure that's up and going and you're getting extra traffic to your Amazon listing. So these are some ads, some Amazon ads you can run inside of your Seller Central account. Get that up and running and producing sales. You don't have to have a super high budget or anything like that, but get that starting to send your listing some traffic. Then make sure you're AWeber. You can sort of send an email out to those people because they're hot and ready for a discount. Then start running your other social media ads. You can run some Google AdWords, some YouTube video, plus a little bit of YouTube video ads, Facebook and Twitter. Do it for a short period of time, anywhere from 3 to 5 days. Send all that stuff to your product listing at once, and you'll see a few days later, up to a week later, that your keyword rankings are going to start to improve and your organic sales will take over. Of course, if you're running all these discounts, like you're going to get some people buying your product at discounts. But the goal is to start getting some organic sales, and this is what you do. You send this big burst of traffic, then you start getting organic sales. And the goal is to, for example, in this one, I just, once again, that CrossFit keyword search, the goal is to start showing up for these regular keyword searches. Now, you can see that ad there at the top. You may or may not be able to see the guy with the kind of band around his arm. There's ways you can run all that kind of stuff, too. That's an actual paid advertisement. But the goal is to start getting some organic rankings. And so that's the purpose of doing this sort of big burst of traffic. So after all that, the goal is to keep running those kind of promotions, keep producing as many sales, start tweaking and monitoring and improving your Amazon sponsored ads. And so after all that, you should start producing some good sales. So you should be running out of inventory by this point. So now we're at week 16, so it's time to order more inventory. You should be producing sales every day now, so keep following up with customers and get more and more reviews. The one caveat to that burst strategy is that you send all that traffic, you can get keyword rankings. I've run it on 3 different products now. It works like clockwork. You get the keyword rankings. But that's not the full picture, because if your product has 1 review from your mom and you're competing against products with thousands of reviews, you could be ranking number 1 and they could be number 2, or they could be number 1, you could be number 2. You're right next to them, but nobody will buy your product because it's got credibility from being ranked high on Amazon, but it's got no credibility in terms of reviews. Or maybe you have really bad images or some of that sort of stuff. So you want to keep following up and get more and more reviews. Get as many reviews as you can. Legitimate reviews from real customers. So that a lot of times just takes a lot of relentless follow-up, because the goal is that you have this sort of trick in your bag to get really good keyword rankings. You want to know that when you get those keyword rankings, that you're going to be able to out-convert the other people that are ranking next to you. And that only comes when you do a really good job of optimizing your listing, including getting lots of reviews. So keep running Amazon sponsored ads for more traffic and sales. Do re-promotions that burst again if necessary to keep sales coming in. Inventory should be running out, which means it's time to reorder. So how much inventory do you order? Well, factor number 1 is your $100,000 per month goal. If you want to hit that goal, you can't only buy enough inventory that's going to produce $10,000 in sales if you sell it for a good price. That's a big factor, is how much revenue do you want to produce. The other factor is how much you forecast you'll actually sell. So you can say that, like, well, I'm selling this product. I need to sell, say that example I gave earlier, 2,500 units at $40 each to get 100,000. So I'm going to order 2,500 units. When you know for a fact that the maximum you'll ever sell of that product is 500 units in a single month. Now, you may not know that, but if you have that feeling that's the most you'll ever sell, then it doesn't make sense to order a whole bunch and hope that you sell a bunch to get that revenue target. So the other part is how much you forecast you'll actually sell. And the third one is how much money you have to invest in inventory. There's different ways out there now. You can get money for investing in inventory. There's a lot of cool ways, actually, but that is another factor. So as an example, if you're currently selling 20 a day at $50 each, 30-day forecast is 600 units. So 20 a day over 30 days, 600 units. But The problem is you're likely not fully ramped up. Yeah, you're likely not ranking at the top for the keywords. You're likely not maxing out your advertising. You're likely not maxing out your conversions. So even though it's 20 a day, it could be 100 a day or 200 a day once you maximize that product. So it gets a little trickier to forecast how much. So you can easily justify with this product 1,000 plus units ordering for your second inventory order. So here's a real example. So a lot of times people want to be kind of timid with ordering inventory, and I've been in that position myself. So here's an actual example. This product was selling $600 to $800 a day, and it was fairly new. Profit was about $200 a day, so not bad. Ran out of inventory, which means basically the way I see it, you were losing $200 a day. You're sitting there pulling $200 out of your wallet every day and ripping it up and throwing it into the trash can. That's the same exact thing. A lot of times we don't think like this, because we think losing money is different than making money, but it's the same net effect. Basically losing $200 a day. So that's $6,000 per month in lost profits. Now, running out of inventory is going to happen, but this is what happens when you do run out of inventory. You're basically just losing money. And this product was just getting ramped up too. This could have easily been a $500, $600 a day profit product. So too little inventory is not a fun thing to experience. So once again, back to the question of how much inventory. Really as much as you're comfortable with that you think you'll reasonably sell. Kind of a fuzzy answer, but you're going to have to do some of the thinking there yourself. So what if you won't hit $100,000 with just one product? Maybe you've picked a product that has a bestseller rank of 3,000 or so, and you think that there's no way in heck this product is ever going to sell enough to do $100,000 a month. But it may be a great product at $20,000, $30,000 a month that you want to keep going because that's still good profit. So the other option is to add more products. You've already got your one product up and running. You've already found a way to sell it and get reviews and launch it and all that good stuff. You've got a brand built. So now it's time to consider adding more products. Sometimes you can even get them from the same supplier. You can find out what products are selling well on Amazon that they also sell, and that can sometimes make logistics a little easier. So you can start researching other opportunities in the same market. Then place your new inventory order as soon as possible. Remember, we're in week 16. Ideally, so you want to place it as soon as possible so that it's live by the end of this period. So then you also want to start planning your new product launches. You don't really have much time to waste. You need a clear plan for launching or relaunching your products when inventory is in stock. Once again, you're kind of doing some of the proactive work before your products get back in stock. You also don't want to be getting this another big batch of inventory and have it just sitting there and not selling. You want to start planning that out. Like as soon as this product hits, I'm going to do this day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. That's what you want to start thinking about while you're waiting for the second batch of inventory. And go ahead and keep building your list at this point too. That'll also help with your product launch. And keep getting more reviews from buyers. And keep your community engaged as much as possible. If they're on social or emails, feel free to share other stuff with them so that they're still engaged and still remember who you are when you have more inventory in stock. And optional is to start reaching out with people with big followings. So if you maybe want to run some special coupons or give some units away to some Instagram person that has 6 million followers or whatever, that's something to start considering. And if you want to go down that route, a lot of people who do it with a lot of success, you can start contacting those people and say, hey, I want to give your people an exclusive coupon or exclusive discount. I got this really cool product. Maybe you still have a couple units you can send to them so they can check it out. That's another thing to start considering so you can really hit it big when your product gets back in stock. So last but not least, phase number 6, weeks 24 through 26. Now it's time to give it everything you've got. You can start tapping into all the same traffic sources that you used before, run a good, well-executed product launch, use your Amazon Seller Central, use your coupons, use your YouTube, Google AdWords, Aweber, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest possibly, and anything you can really get your hands on. Promote your product every single day. Do not let up at this phase. This is the time to really buckle down and give it everything you have. Continually promote your products. Get as many reviews as possible. Be relentless about follow-up. Tap into additional marketing channels. There's stuff like Amazon Marketing Services, which is a whole other paid advertising channel that can run ads like that one that I showed you that has the guy had the thing wrapped around his arm. Shows up at the top of the pages. It's another good source of advertising. You can also crank up some YouTube ads. Refine your Amazon sponsored ad strategy. Start pulling out the keywords that are working and ramping those up. Maybe adding new keywords, doing additional keyword research, increasing your budgets on that stuff, assuming it's profitable. And start working on improving the conversion rate of your Amazon listings. Maybe get some better images, maybe get better description, maybe see what else you can do to improve your product listings conversion rate. And work hard and do not give up. All in all, goal of this thing, $100,000 per month. I know I went kind of quick, but hopefully this provides some clarity of the kind of relentless pace you need to go at if you want to hit a big goal. We recently did a survey of some members and asked where they wanted to be in 12 months and sort of gave them some different, profit per month targets. The vast majority of them said they wanted to be in 12 months at a profit of at least $50,000 a month, which is awesome. That's great. We've had people that have done that before and have gone even bigger than that. I got a guy, for example, that I was talking to. He's actually coming to our live event in September. He started less than a year ago and just kind of dabbled. Started with a couple $1,000s in inventory, just kind of threw it. He said he was just going to throw it away. He didn't think it was actually going to work. Then it started ramping up, and he said, okay, maybe there's something to this. Fast forward to today, he does about $500,000 a month in revenue with about $150,000 a month in profit. Now, he keeps funneling that back into his business, which is part of the reason he's grown so quickly, because he keeps focusing on growth. But it's $150,000 a month. He could walk away with it if he wanted to. So this stuff is possible, but you have to go at a relentless pace, and you can't get sidetracked, and you can't make excuses about stuff. Oh, the supplier didn't get back to me. Well, follow up with them 12 times until they do get back with you. Now, I say all this, but you don't have to. If your goal is really not, maybe there's kind of an attractive idea, but maybe you're okay with taking things a little slower, that's fine too. It's just you have to move fast if you want to do something quickly. So now let's do a quick recap of this. So $100,000 per month in 6 months. Phase 1, week 1. Phase 1, week 1, product research, supplier research, calculate your potential profit, and order samples. Find out what product you're going to sell. Week 2, receive the samples, evaluate the samples, and get your logo design since you already know what product you're going to sell. Phase 3, place your inventory order, set up marketing assets, and build a small list. Phase 4, your product is live. Congratulations. Get 10 to 15 reviews and market the heck out of your product. Phase 5, order your next batch of inventory, add a second product, and plan some big promotions. Phase 6, go all out, tap into every traffic source, get as many reviews as possible, improve your conversion rate, and promote every single day. Now, maybe you have bigger ambition. Maybe $100,000 a month is awesome, but you want to see how much higher you can go. What about $1 million a month? So your business, $100,000 a month, say by this point you have 2 products live, and that's what's producing the $100,000 a month. Extrapolating this out, which maybe it's not exactly proportional, but let's just say it is. 4 products is $200,000 a month. 6 products, $300,000 a month. 20 products, there's your $1 million a month. And I didn't just pull this number out randomly. We have members that we've taught how to do this stuff that have started from nothing that are now at $1 million a month. Now they've learned a lot along the way. They've implemented a lot of stuff. A lot of them, part of it's really dominating a market, dominating a product category. The other part too is selling multiple products. So something to look at if you have a lot bigger ambition. It's a matter of scaling up the business through more marketing, product growth, and also improving conversion rate of every product you sell. So a little bit of a reality check here after I've sort of gone through all this stuff. Are you guaranteed to hit $100,000 in 6 months? Of course not. You're not guaranteed $100,000 in 6 months. It depends on how hard you work and how much you work, but there is a lot of waiting. As you saw through some of this stuff, like I've gone through in building this new business, I've gone through phases where I, worked a few hours a day for a couple days in a row, but then I've gone through phases where I've gone literally 2 or 3 weeks with doing almost nothing because I'm just waiting on some inventory. Typically, it's just waiting on inventory. Sometimes waiting on some samples or waiting on some design stuff. And so there's a lot of waiting involved too. It's not one of these things that until your business gets really ramped up, I don't know what you would do for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I have no idea. Once your business gets cranking, you've got a lot of customers, you've got a lot of sales coming in and orders, and you're looking and launching new products, that's when people have kind of a full-time job with this thing, assuming they're not hiring people or outsourcing stuff. But at the beginning, there's just a lot of waiting. But it's still a matter of how much you work. Also, how well you follow the guidelines we've proven to work. If you're like, you know what, there's a really cool product that I think I should sell. It doesn't sell well at all on Amazon, but I think that it could be. And you launch the product, you go through all those steps, you've done your 12 weeks of waiting or whatever, and you get the product live, and you're like, why is nobody buying this thing? I'm doing all this marketing stuff Matt said to do, but nobody's buying the thing. Because you shouldn't have launched that product in the first place. So part of it's related to how well you follow the guidelines. We've proven to work. Believe me, been down this road. I've had a extremely nice couple here in the United States that wanted to launch their own business. They decided to do some product that had nothing to do with what we knew actually works. Year and a half later, they're super excited to get their product live, and then I haven't really heard from them since. It's probably not selling at all. I hope that it is. Hopefully they found something that I didn't know existed, but it was a struggle for a lot of reasons. So it also depends on how well you follow the guidelines. Also, external factors, competition, seasonality, things like Chinese New Year, which I actually ran into. So the business that I launched earlier this year is actually probably about a month behind this schedule. I ran into Chinese New Year. I made the dumb decision of launching 3 products at once, including one product that has 8 variations, which is a whole other story. So I messed things up myself. I didn't perfectly follow this timeline. I didn't even know this timeline. I didn't really create this timeline until recently, but I messed a lot of things up. But if I sort of took out those things, then I'd be very much on schedule. But I did also run into Chinese New Year, which takes a couple weeks out of the process, but also could be in your favor. In your case, if you're on this webinar, it's July, so Christmas will be coming up. You may do all this stuff, and you find that your sales skyrocket without you having to do a bunch of work. Or there's things like Prime Day, which is coming up, so that also could dramatically increase sales without you having to do a lot. So external factors could be in your favor or against you. So what if you don't hit $100,000 in 6 months? You keep going. We know this business model works. We've seen it work for a lot of people. It's very replicable. You can do it from anywhere in the world, so we know it works. So regardless of what ends up happening, as long as you follow the system and keep implementing, you just keep going until you get to that point, and hopefully well beyond there. So, but you absolutely can do this. I mean, here's one, Sasha, basically doing $133,000 in her first year of doing this business, so she's doing pretty well. This is Felix. He's doing about $100,000 a month doing this sort of model. Taylor at about $107,000 a month. You can see the 30-day screenshot, $107,000 a month. You've got Angie, who just hit her $100,000 in a single month. Jean-Francois at about $50,000 a month. Stefano at about $108,000 a month, about $316,000 in total sales. I think he's about 10 months into it, 9 or 10 months into it. So you can absolutely do this. That's definitely not a question. So what do you do now? Well, how do you take the first step? First is to find one product. That's the only goal that you want to start off with. Find one product, start small, set a timer, and spend just 20 minutes researching. Sometimes you can sort of get overloaded. A technique I like to use when I really don't want to start something because I'm just feeling overloaded, I'll just set a timer on the computer for 20 minutes or on my smartphone for 20 minutes and just get started. Start looking at products. Now, you'll probably end up liking the process and you'll find it kind of cool, so you may end up an hour later, not even realize that much time has passed, but just set a timer for 20 minutes. Do some product research. So your goal is to just find one product. That is the first step in getting started with this. So now I want to talk with you about, I keep sort of alluding to this business I have been building. So I actually have a real example for you. So I started phase 1 back in January, meaning doing some research. As you can see, I've kind of recorded this entire thing, which one of our fancy employees is sitting there in the background. So phase 1 is research. Phase 2 is getting the samples. So not long after I started receiving some of these samples, this is the image that I showed you earlier. This is me actually opening some of these product samples. Phase 3 is to receive some of the inventory. Now, something to note on this is the only reason I had all these boxes, there's a pain in the butt, I have these pallets sitting in my garage now. The only reason I had these shipped to me, which you do not, I don't recommend you doing this. It's a pain in the butt to deal with. The only reason I did this was for the sake of this example, because I wanted to record some videos, I wanted to show the product, show the boxes, all that stuff. But the right way to do this is to never touch this stuff yourself. Just have the supplier ship it directly to Amazon. Do not have them send it to you. But in this case, I had the first order only sent to me so I could do some cool kind of video footage of the actual product and inventory. Phase 4, the initial sales, as you can see, not a lot was happening until April. Then sales ramped up really quickly. Didn't order a whole lot of inventory to start off with. So sales ramped up really quickly, and then I quickly ran out of inventory. So there's phase 4 for you. So phase 5, reorder inventory. This actually started for me in this business a few weeks ago. I've placed some bigger inventory orders and kind of waiting on all that stuff to get live. One of the products should be back in stock hopefully this week or next week. And then the main product, the one that's producing the most amount of profit and sales, or was before it ran out of inventory, that one should be live, part of it in a week or two, and the rest of it in 2 or 3 weeks. So that should all be back in stock. So I'm like in the middle of phase 5 right now. Phase 6 is really next month. So phase 6 is all about ramping up big sales. So that's really happening next month in August. So what I want to tell you about is your opportunity to look over my shoulder and see what a real $100,000 a month business being built from scratch looks like. We're calling this sort of experience brand genesis, because obviously we're creating a new brand, so brand genesis. So what you haven't seen yet that I didn't cover in this webinar, how to pick the right keywords to target for a product, which is greatly impacts your organic rankings and what keywords you produce sales from on Amazon sponsored ads and Amazon marketing services. the exact product launch process, what that looks like step by step for an actual product, and seeing every single step as I go through it for the products, and you see the results after. How to promote multiple products at once. How to get over 100 5-star reviews in a month. This is an actual screenshot of one of the product's reviews. It's 104 reviews. I think almost all of them are 5-star. Maybe there's a couple 4-star, but how to get over 100 5-star reviews in a month completely legitimately. How to give away products and still make a profit. And that's just a small piece of what's covered. I mean, you literally see everything in building this business. There's nothing that you don't see. So component number one of this whole thing is really the episodes and action plans. So we've tried to break the episodes down into about 30 minutes each. So after each episode, you're given an action plan of what you need to go do in the real world to sort of copy what I've done to build your own brand. So you have multiple episodes and then action plans for each one. And then episode number one actually releases on July 21st. So not that long away. Component number two is the community. So we've set up a community for this so that you and the other people going through Brand Genesis, and myself as well, we can all chat about what you're learning, what you're missing, what else you need to know. So that's what the community is for. And then also, I mentioned a few software tools throughout this webinar that I've used to grow this business, and this is actually a screenshot of one too. So what I've done is these software tools are mostly optional, but I'm going to be using them in Brand Genesis in the example, so I might as well tell you all what they are. And so what I've basically done is I've contacted all those people and pulled a few strings and given you all some pretty insane software discounts. So it all adds up. If you were to use these tools for about 12 months, it adds up to, I said before, $300 if you heard me say, but I actually calculated wrong. It's actually about $1,000 in discounts. So some of them you get extended trials, some of them you get monthly discounts on their stuff, or some of them are one-time fees and you save on that too. So basically you get $1,000 in software discounts. And these are some really cool tools that you don't have to use, but that are pretty helpful in kind of automating some of this stuff. So that's all included also. And so what's the cost of this thing? Well, remember, we're talking about producing $100,000 a month. We're not talking about how to make $50, any of that sort of stuff. Like, this is a serious business with serious money, so I want you to keep that in mind. So what you get with Brand Genesis are all the episodes and action plan, which, you know, a lot of people out there would charge a minimum of $1,000 for that thing alone. We've never done anything like this. Private community, $50 a month minimum. Software discounts, $1,000. 100 plus other courses included. You literally get 100 plus other courses with this thing, easily worth $5,000 total, if not more. Total of all this, $7,000. What's your cost? $0. Yeah, sounds a little crazy. You basically get full access to everything for 30 days for free. You pay nothing up front. I think we may do $1 credit card authorization or something like that, but it's basically free for 30 days. You can cancel anytime. And it's just $39 a month, $39 a month, which I think works out to about $1.30 a day. That is literally it for you to access all this stuff. You can cancel anytime. There's no obligation. If you find out that you get 15 days into it and you don't want to continue, you cancel. You never build anything. If you find out 2 months or 3 months or 4 months into it that you're not using it, then you can cancel then too, and you'll never be billed again. So you can cancel anytime. There's no obligation. And yes, it is really that easy. There's no strings. There's no upsell. There's no any of that sort of stuff. And we'll send you a reminder 3 days before your trial ends in case you're worried about getting billed and not actually using the thing. We'll send you a reminder 3 days before your trial ends. So hopefully you like this. Hopefully you got some good value. If you become a subscriber and you check out Brand Genesis, that'll be awesome. I look forward to seeing you in there. If not, hopefully you got some good value, and I hope to see you soon. So thanks, everybody. I will see you all soon, and have a great day.